Hello everyone, welcome to the 13th session of the Pattern Language course. Today the students shall be presenting their work, what they've come up with throughout the whole semester. We shall also be joined by our group members that are from the Chitintale youth. So stay tuned and enjoy. Welcome everyone, welcome to our guests online and in person. Thank you for coming today. We apologize for the delay. The students were very slow because I guess it's holiday time. But we are finally here. We welcome our in-person guests, the youth from Chitintale. Thank you for joining us and journeying with us this entire semester.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Professor Emeka, and I am the Vice Chancellor of the International University of East Africa. I welcome our guests from other universities. I welcome the youth who have participated in this event. Thank you all very much. I thank Ms. Priscilla, Professor Jose, and Dr. Sharma, and of course, the IUEA team. But most importantly, I want to give a big thanks to our colleagues who are online, who are participating in this event, and also to the OBEL Award for giving IUEA the opportunity to partner with them and to bring about this course. As it says here, the award is the OBEL Teaching Fellowship Award. And it is not an easy award to receive. So you must have something very important. They must have been impressed with what you are doing, the quality of what you are doing, in order for you to get this award. The award is also very important for IUEA, for Uganda and Africa in general, because of some of the unique features of the award. And what is this unique feature? It is that 70% of the teaching is practical. 30% is in class. The importance of it is that for professional organizations, professional trades like architecture, engineering, computer science, it is not worth it to spend a lot of time on the theory. Theory is important, but the most important part of this for these professions that require technical knowledge is the practical aspect of it. So this award embodies what we at IUEA also believe. Our vision is to be the technological university of choice in Africa. And you don't do that just by talking. You have to demonstrate, because technology is physical. You can touch it. You can see it. You can use it. You can ride on it. You can use it to talk, and somebody in God knows where, Mars, because today the planet is almost nothing. You can talk to anyone in China, where have you. Astronauts travel to the moon, and you can still hear them communicate with Earth, even though they are about 250,000 miles away from Earth in a different planet. So technology is practical. And IUEA's vision to be the technological university of choice incorporates the real world application of technology. Its mission to provide an excellent education that includes practical experience and skills supports the vision. And it is in line with what the OBEL Award is. And IUEA, I can assure you, will continue in its partnership with institutions that are truly interested in giving practical experience to people. And I thank you all. I will sit and enjoy the show.
Mr. LC1 of Chitintale Zone 12, Sevo Godfrey tukwebaza nnyo ne team Jose nayo. Mwebale tusupportinga tukwatirako okutambula naffe okutuuka wano we tuli. I'm going to invite Group 2 to start us off with the student presentations. We are going to do this in 8 minutes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome. This is Group 2. And our group is made up of 2 teams, one from International University of East Africa as the students, and the youth from Chitintale, who are for today. So in total we are 10. And I'm going to take us through as quick as possible. From the students, my name is Esther Balo Nansubuga. I'm the group leader. We have McLean, we have Adam, Shema, and Linda as part of the group. We did the pattern language and we looked at it as different patterns from the book that we read, and we understood how these patterns actually work together to make a project that is meaningful to the community. So there are different gaps that we identified within the community, and that's meeting spaces, sanitation, and mobility. As we know, we are people and we work alongside with people. Next slide. So these are our patterns, our pattern cards, and from our pattern cards, the very first top pattern card that you can see there is what our project is really going to be so much about, because it has a lot to do with community, it has a lot to do with socializing, and in communities there are people, and people socialize a lot. So we have so many other patterns that we realized within Chititale. There are about 24 patterns that we realized. The community, socialization, the youth, the kind of things they do, the young people, the older generation, and the roads, how they maneuver their way through Chitintale to reach these different areas that they socialize in, how they get to their homes, the type of buildings that they have within the space, the kind of materials that they use. This is a scale showing the different things we have within Chititale. We realize that because these people they come into Uganda, they come into Kampala, sorry, to earn a living. And you notice that most times they have shops in front of their homes or shops around. And they create opportunities for themselves within the community to be able to earn from that. So we realize the youth have so many organizations where they are creative and how they are able to make a living without spending so much time being idle. Next slide. So these are, our patterns are patterns for social life. So we realized as we were going through, most of our patterns were leaning towards the socialization of people and social living. And from that, we came up with this matrix that connects the different things. So the biggest board, which is the community hub, is what directed us into what project we shall do later. And we looked at our different patterns and how we can connect them to that. That's to that one big pattern, which we looked at bridges and urban farming, because we realized they do that. You find outside their homes they have a bit of potted plants, and that also communicated something to us. Right. So we located a site that can cover most of our patterns, and our site is at the wellspring that is within Chitintale. At that wellspring, we find that they have a car wash, meaning they earn from it. There are opportunities for the youth. Then we found that they have farming, so they have plastic bottles, and they've done urban farming in those plastic bottles around that area. And then they have a shelter. This site belongs to the community. It's a government's land and it belongs to the community. So the community has meetings there, and they have this shelter that needs a little bit of work, but it works. Then we found that they have a bridge in one of the images, but the bridge collapsed. So the kids have to go down that deep area to cross over to come and fetch water and then cross back. Next slide. And these are some of the images we picked from the site itself. we realized that they have a lot of graffiti also around that area, which is one of the patterns that you find within Chitintale, the things that they have. So that is the garden. They have the garden space right there. Next slide, please. So these are pictures of what we found within that area. First picture down, we have the well where they get water from. The whole community comes to this well. So this site is actually very beneficial to the whole community as a whole. Then that shelter is where they get to rest. It has a car wash because there's water, and you find that most youth will be chilling in this area. Then we have urban farming. So they taught them how to do urban farming, and they got plastics and put up an urban farm where they get their vegetables and their food from. Next. So from the different things that we studied, the different patterns that we got, these are our focuses. The community was a point for us because we're looking at Chitintale as a community. Then inclusivity, where we have to include all ages, all genders, religion, because the place has a diverse culture. Then we have to be culturally sensitive, given that you find Muslims, you find there are ladies, there are gentlemen, there are young children, there are youth, and people from different lifestyles. Then we thought of doing an eco toilet in that area because that place has a natural spring, and eco toilet, because if you dig down, you can affect the water. So the toilet has to stand on top. Then materials selection, due to what we found there, we had to match what's there so that we don't have an alien building. Then the building orientation in terms of where it should look, where it should face because of the climate, to ensure that our building stands and is not taken away by the wind. Then this is our proposal. We have the meeting space, sanitation spaces, and the bridge. And those are the things that we found from the patterns. Those are the things that we use to link what we're working with our patterns and the project.
Esteemed Vice Chancellor of our university, Mr. Dr. Emeka, our respected Head of Department, Mr. Abdul Salam Shema, and our distinguished lecturers and all our guests and my fellow students, good morning. As he said, I'm Azusa Malikopo, and to give an overview of what pattern language is, because we know we have people who don't really get the whole point. Okay, pattern language is a way of providing solutions in a more structured and understandable way, so that we provide solutions that fit to the problems that are actually on the field. That's how the pattern language works. So about the area we are working on, we are working on Chitintale. It's located in Kampala in Uganda, and in the Nakawa division. And actually, this is one of the big slums in Kampala. From what we noticed around the site, we have actually it has a very, very big swamp around it, and it's accessed by the road that you just see here below, and also a part of industrial buildings. And also, as you can see, the buildings are structured in a very informal way, and also accessibility, as you can see.
So one of the major economic activities are kiosk lockups and vegetable stalls. You can find even on someone's veranda, they're selling tomatoes, onions, and other foodstuffs. Furthermore, these people are plagued with challenges. For instance, Dasan here from our youth group is part of a youth group called the Vegetable Farmers Association. So their challenge is, they have many challenges from pesticides, cost of pesticides and seedlings, but we found that if we solve their economic issues, for example, giving them a place where they can sell their goods, they can solve a lot of the challenges themselves. So here is our proposal and how we plan on using it to change the site.
So our proposal is the food farm kiosk, and why this project is because it's in line with the parish development model, and we are trying to create more jobs and wealth for the people within these slums, and in line with the agro-industrialization sector. So our concept was a bit theoretical, that is the conceptual idea, which is the stable and accessible food supply chain. So since people have already areas where they are growing crops, that is the island, we thought of providing a space where they can take their produce and sell it out and be able to earn income. So we have a shelter where they will carry out that economic activity and be able to earn and improve on their health.
So to conclude, we noticed that the patterns we learned at first that seemed local could even apply at a global scale. So with our project, what we are trying to get to learn is how to make sure these patterns are interrelated. For instance, we know that Tintali Zone 12 is under an LC1 chairman, but he's also under a councillor at KCCA. KCCA falls under government, so on and so forth. So while the government can decide on the vision for the entire country, the people at the local level, through their chairman, can also notice the patterns that are going on in their community, and we can help them. So the food farm kiosk is supposed to engage a lot of the stakeholders, from the youth farmers who are in an informal group, who are associated to the political structure, and to the fellow neighbors, so they increase the social connectivity with it. So this project is supposed to mix all these skills, such that someone is able to interact, from even a farmer can get to government by saying, I am falling under this program that you had set, and I would request assistance in such and such a manner. And in this way, KCCA will be able to achieve its goal of smart cities. Because if the people at the lower level, the grassroots, are following the directives, then it becomes easier to implement the projects. All this because of the patterns we can notice. And furthermore, we learned that these patterns don't have to necessarily be new. They can be what is already there, but you just have to find ways of improving it. When you come by our booth, we shall be sure to show you how these cards, how these different patterns feed into each other, from the theoretical level, where someone is thinking of how they organize themselves as groups, to the practical level of how they are going to build using the materials in their own environment. Thank you.
Thank you, group, for your presentation. Like the students have said, after these pictures, please take time and go through booth by booth, where they break down their process and their product and how they came up with it. So this is just a summary of what their work is about. I would like to invite group 3.
All right, so in this slide, we'll be talking about the different approaches that we used before coming up to our initial project. And one of them, of course, is we had to go to the site for a site visit on the proposed site, which we will explain more about it on our booth outside. And then we also noticed different types of repetitive ways of getting about the life of the people in Kintitale Zone 12, which basically generated some of our patterns, which one of my colleagues will talk about and make it clear. And then we also, after noticing, of course, we had to document them. Then after documenting them, we had to break it down based on the project that we had to do. So it was more of like a process where we have a lot of patterns, but and then we had to scale it down to the specific project that we are doing based on the different patterns found on site. And then also my colleague will talk about the type of scaling that we used.
Yes, my name is Katova Taringa Kenneth. Pattern language. So the easiest way to understand the pattern language, a pattern language is like a paragraph which is made of words. So the words are the patterns. So a word alone has no weight to it. When you combine them, it translates into something. So when we went ahead, we looked at the patterns as explained by my colleagues. in Chitintali, and I'll take you through some of them, the most relatable ones that I will explain. Multiculturalism. So Chitintali is culturally diverse. It has people from the north, east, all over, all the people that work in the CDB. So you find that there is a lot of cultural diversity in the place, which is a pattern. So you can see, you can use that pattern to your own advantage to create what you want. Safety and security. So there's a tendency of the community coming together to create a sense of security around the community in Chitintali, and mostly in slums. So the locals come together with local authorities to foster a more secure community. Then we also looked at community groups. There's a tendency of the communities creating groups. We looked at the Banachiboga dance crew, there are women circles, things like that. So they continue happening in Chitintali, which is also a pattern. We also looked at recycling. Recycling is also another pattern we noticed. You realize, like in this Chitintali, a bottle can be recycled even after taking like water. Someone will use it to take alcohol or something, but there is minimum wastage. Everything is like recycled, which we noticed. So moving on to our pattern field. So this is the methodology we used to create the pattern language that we followed. It was a journey of to and fro, but after consulting with the locals and continuous evaluation, we came up with the field that you're seeing. So we looked at on the y-axis, we came from the micro through meso to macro, looking at the detail, courtyard, neighborhood, town, and transcaler. So that's how we scaled those on the y. Then on the x-axis, we looked at what because the aim from our lectures, we found out that your aim will dictate what your patterns will get you. So from the y-axis, we looked at what the youths value most. That was social engagement, land ownership, then the economics, safety and security, then culture and environment, and the environment. So we scaled our patterns on that. The ones in the corner on my right, on the further corner on my right, those are the most achievable and the most preferred by the youth that we are looking at. Meaning that one of our strongest patterns was graffiti, which is easy to get, and the youths find it like more enticing and easy to get involved with. So with that, we came up with a field that you're seeing, all the connected parts to come up with a project which helped us in decision making and the project that we made.
The people in Chitintale had a way of growing their own vegetables. So we thought of having urban gardens where they could grow their own vegetables that we proposed in our design. We also proposed a few bridges to move around the area because we realized there are so many trenches that need to be jumped over. And as we were doing the visit, we had a few ladies in our group who were having difficulty to move around. So we thought having bridges to help move around the trenches and the channels would be a good idea. We propose also seats along the street around the Chitintale area. One of our patterns is character of the street, which looks at how the streets are displayed. And we thought that having seats around it will help with socializing within the neighborhood of Chitintale. Next. There are also a number of wells around as a pattern, and we proposed a few designs for their wells so that as people come to get water, they can also sit around and relax around those wells. There are also a few engaging activities going around, as our colleague talked about: boxing, football, dancing, and many more. So we thought of also having these in our proposed design, whereby they would have a few sites and propose games on a one-to-one scale like chess, where it is not on the small scale, but now on a scale where people can stand and move around the pieces, and other activities that you can see.
And then outdoor green spaces still, which we find at one of our sites. It's just near a well, and there are a lot of kids who play there when they're going to fetch water, and we thought of having this. And the good thing is Chitintale as a whole I don't know how they came about this, but you find that at many wells, they have small gardens, and we thought of just improving these gardens. And then we proposed to have street designs. As you know, it's a slum, so the streets are not really designed, and you can get lost easily. And we're not doing anything fancy, but with our pattern recycling, we're planning to have plastic brick pavers.
In conclusion, plastic waste would be the future of construction. So 6.5 kilometers from Chitintali is 6.5 kilometers from IUEA is Chitintali, which is a home of very many talents with 7 zones having different leaders. So our sites are mainly wells, and they are located in zones 12 and 11. According to the executive director of NEMA, Uganda produces more than 12,000 tons of plastic waste. That is since 2018. And in Kampala alone, it produces more than 130,000 tons of plastic waste generated per year. And if you've been paying attention to our project pitch, you notice that we are focusing on recycling anything and everything available in the community, from tires to plastic to old wood and old bricks. So with me here are 2 plastic pavers prototypes that I managed to develop in 4 years ago. This is made of high density plastic, and this is made of very low dense plastic. And because they are not perfect, that's why they are called prototypes. So courtesy of this, we are able to attain a sustainable project, meaning that the community is able to keep this project going in our absence, but also at the same time, we are able to have the cost of implementation affordable. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Edgar. So from understanding the pattern language and the patterns, we came up with patterns of survival. And from these patterns of survival, we looked at references from the slum upgrading strategies in Uganda. So the government has, and the KC has several smart upgrading strategies. For example, when we look at the Kampala capital city smart city framework, we looked at smart people, smart living, and we are trying to incorporate all these ways of survival through the project. And we also looked at references through the parish development model, where we looked at the development model 3, which talked about financial inclusion, where it's aligned to creating and improving livelihoods of the people in every community. So we also have the National Development Plan 3, 2021 to 2025, which these are all drawing us towards our final project, which is a socio-economic hub, and which is intended to create means of survival for the people of Chitintali. So under the Sustainable Development Goals 11, which talks about the sustainable cities and communities, which is also one of the things we looked at to approach our project. So our strategy, we came up with a strategy from understanding the survival patterns. So we started by identifying community valued activities. So in Italy, there are a lot of value addition communities where activities rather, where we have things like people grow small crops for example, in the island. People make artifacts, there's a lot of creativity going on in the area where people actually want to survive. So we looked at patterns like shops along the street, urban food gardening. So that's the things we talked about. So all of that we are trying to fetch it towards our project. So identifying community survival initiatives, like I've talked about. For example, there are a lot of different groups who are trying to come together to help each other. We have the Mateka group. So all these other groups trying to come together to improve themselves. So identifying possible patterns for value addition. The possible patterns for value addition, we have shops along the streets, urban food gardening, and everything else. So the pattern definition of value addition. So we use the pattern language to define value addition. And because we followed when we went to Italy, we were advised by the local members who we were approached, and then be like, yes, we have our commodities, but we don't have where um, to to sell these commodities. Also, we looked at them in a way that okay, let me just continue. So patterns defining value addition, which I've talked about, and also survival project design. Remember, the people said when one of our engagements with the people, they said this place is actually survivable. For them, they're okay with it, but they just need an extra way to earn income and move on with their life.
We appreciate you so much as IUEA for coming up and really and coming up and even for your own initiative of looking at our area like Kitintare, that area which is a bit of it's a bit formal and informal. The setup is informal and formal. And our youth, as you see, I'm very sure that they're going to benefit a lot from these patterns that they have gone through them. They have liked it so much and they have been engaged in these activities and in this learning, which is a step ahead. We would also request, as suggested, all their findings, if it would be possible, if they can be put into practice. Like they've talked about the eco toilet, putting in more effort in their farm shops and the rest of them. They'll engage these young men and they'll be busy enough, and somehow, somewhere, they also have an income so far. Since some of them are not very well with good jobs around, so if they're put into practice, we are sure that it will change the lives of our community. So we are looking ahead, seeing you people continue. If this phase is out, if you can come up with another phase, we are available, and the youth are also available for us to get much better from you people. Thank you so much for listening.
I want to take this opportunity to, first of all, thank Madam Priscilla and the university at large for inviting us and giving us this opportunity, we in the youth in Chitintale, to express ourselves out, because I've been a member of the Chitintale Zone 12 community for a very long time, and I've grown up with most of the youth around. They have very brilliant ideas, and this came as a chance for them to show out what they can do, and in case, like, put it out to the world, to the country, and they move forward. So this came as a good opportunity for the people I've been with, and I pray the best group that wins moves successfully with whatever they are planning. We thank you all for this opportunity. We're looking forward to work with you guys. Thank you.
Yes, so as we leave, we shall just have one final word from Mr. Anthony Wako from Uganda Matters University in Kozi. He's the head of the Department of Architecture.
Congratulations to making it this far and to coming to the end of this course. And to you students, I hope that you don't just drop everything that you have learned here. I hope that you actually apply this in your other projects. I hope that you apply it in your other individual, smaller projects. Just know that the end user, the Omuntu wa wansi, that person that you don't think about daily while you're drawing your lines on paper, think about that person all the time. Thank you very much.
Okay, the final. I think we also have to get a few words from Mr. Okalebo from the Architecture Department at Chambogo. Please give him a round of applause. And then we shall have a group photo with our youth from Chitintale and the team of IUEA.
I can say I am very happy. Things have moved beyond the last time I was here. This is actually the first time I discovered that there is space here, even when I've been in this university for some good time. And to the students, to the staff. But Brenda, I should first punish you today, because good things were happening, and I was kind of kept out as one of the family members. But you've done a good job. I've had a chance to listen from two groups, especially the last one, because which group came second last? Second last. Group 5, I only had 50% presentation. Group 1, I had 100%. I can only imagine how much I missed from the other groups. But I'm very happy. As my colleague has said, often students of architecture are tied around straight lines, curves, and they forget that there are actually people out there who are supposed to live inside those lines. So thank you so much, IUEA team, to introduce this. You've introduced this to our students, and I'm very sure their projects are going to change. It's not going to be a line, it's going to be a person. So every line they will draw, they will see an individual. And every construction material they will propose, they will see actually a human being, not a construction material. I'm only excited because I'm going to see real stuff in there, and I don't want to waste time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. No more surprises. So let us come to the front. Sauti is going to help us take a group photo, because if we don't take it now, we will not be able to take it. And then we shall move to the booths.
Hello, everyone. This is Group 4. Our project is a food farm kiosk. It is meant to help with the patterns of food supply and the inclusion of the supply of food, stable supply of food, because food security is important for the growth of urban centers. Our project is a food farm kiosk. It's where people will get their produce straight from the garden, where they grow their vegetables, and sell at a kiosk directly at the farm. These kiosks will be located right next to the main road. These are all some of the patterns you can find in our pattern fields. So things like accessible street networks, vegetable youth farmers, residents of the Chitintale Zone 12, and use of cheap and available building materials. So the kiosks will be meant to help with the distribution of food and increase the income for the youth farmers of Chitintale who are an informal group.
So we're having the bridge that we're going to incorporate within the community center, and it's going to help young people go over instead of them coming down the trench that is along this line. So we have created it to be spacious enough for all groups of people to go over it. Then we have the community hub, where we're going to be having different activities happening within this space. So as you can see here, this is the community hub that we're having, and we have sitting space within it. It's a shed, so it does not take away from what we already have in Chitintale around the wellspring. So here, as you can see, we have another option for the community hub within Chitintale. It's at the wellspring too. This one is more spacious, and it brings out the same language that we already have at the shelter within that area. And then we have an eco toilet. So because of the water flow that we have in that place, we do not want to dig down to damage the water and affect it sanitary. So we will have a toilet that's above where they can sit and use it. Even the youth that do the car wash and all the different members that take place, that happen to be at the hub, get to use these toilets
easily. We have a page where we're looking at the different materials that we have within Chitintale that we can use. We have plastic, concrete, iron sheets, and wood, which is sustainable and we can easily get on the market to come up with this beautiful project.
So our project is based in Chitintale. Chitintale is a space or an informal settlement that has about 7 zones. And with 7 zones, each zone has a leader. So with that, our project is called the Scattered Activity Grounds. And our project is basically relying on wells. Our sites, we chose 3 sites, and they are located in Zone 12 and Zone 11. And these sites are basically are a result of pattern fields that we noticed, or pattern languages that we noticed were very common throughout our research and throughout our site visit. One of the things we noticed the most was that our people of Chitintale are very innovative in one way or another. So by innovative activities, what we mean is that their ability to recycle anything and everything, we are talking from tires, plastic waste, old wood, old bricks, to be able to make something new. So because also these people have a pattern field called togetherness, where they feel they need to be together to be as a community, we notice that there is a street pattern of where they are always gathering together every evening to hang out, to communicate, to catch up, to entertain each other in one way or another. So that is also that was also the basis of our project. Now, courtesy of that, we were able to come up with designing different spaces around different wells for the 3 sites we chose. So with one site being a playground, one site being a mini garden, and then the other sites having the third site having something different. The goal was to be able to give people a space they can hang out, have fun, communicate while they wait to fetch water from the wells. The other one was for them to be able to recycle plastic waste in one way or another, to be able to make money from whatever they're recycling with. Also, these recycling materials are used in their mini gardens. Why are we focusing on recycling? We are focusing on recycling because also one of the patterns we noticed in Chitintale was poor waste disposal or poor waste management. The trenches were covered in both organic and inorganic waste. When we talked and interacted with these people of Chitintale, we noticed that they don't have a proper management system. There is no truck that visits on a regular or every once a week to pick up the garbage that they have. So we thought that if they cannot afford to pay these trucks that can help clean up their community, how about we find a way for them to recycle the materials that they no longer need, that is the waste. So since they already have a little bit of knowledge regarding recycling some materials, we thought that recycling plastic waste as a construction material would actually add to what they already know. Why? Because recycling plastic waste is also very sustainable. This can be done even after we have left the site. They don't need us to do this project or to move forward with it. But also it's economically affordable because the raw materials for recycling these things is really in front of them, and they don't need to buy it, they don't need to purchase it, they just need the technique. So we went with that because with the way the trenches looked, they can just pick up this garbage and be able to recycle it in one way or another.
So throughout, we have been able to have different lectures, which have been by architect Vinesh Shintaram, Kai Jaksu, Dr. Mnos Sands, and we have been able to understand how the pattern language has been implemented across the world, and we've been able to learn how to be able to apply it to Chitintale Zone 12. And Zone 12 has been a source of inspiration, a source of knowledge, a source of a lot, including our patterns. And we ended up having patterns of survival as our patterns. And this led us to understand the socio-economic situation, understand the urban blue-green of this area, understand the design dimensions of this area, and appreciate them. And from that, we were able to create a project which we termed as a socio-economic hub, addressing majorly the patterns in our theme of socio-economic patterns. And this was able to be a project that is all about having value addition for water supply, value addition for urban food gardening, value addition for plastic waste collection, and value addition for urban farming by creating a market. So the center of our project is based on having a mobile market, which can be placed in our community plaza, whereby people can do different activities such as market days for food, market days for clothes, boxing classes, community gatherings, and also add an installation of a plastic collection, which is a source of pride for the creativity, innovation that we found in Chitintale Zone 12. But one thing we really appreciated was that the socio-economic need of the people in Chitintale, which led us to understand that all they need is to survive so that they can live their best lives. So we came up with our slogan, where we highly believe that first we survive, then we live.
Thanks for the opportunity from OBEL. This has been a very exciting engagement. It's been a very exciting engagement in that students have been able to try out their cards at being responsible architects, because we do have a lot of architects, but responsible architects are not so many. And I think if they start at this stage, it is going to actually help them out. They have understood how to, I think they have, on a large scale, they have understood how to deal with community ideas and to involve ideas from the community into their work. And I think it will also help them in their academia. Okay, so this the beginning, but I think if the ideas from at least 3 groups are merged, it's going to make a lot of sense for the community. Thank you, Obel.